Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm asking, how much money do you burn on looking good and feeling good? Well, in this video, I am going to show you how I stretch my hair color dollar and how I beat the symptoms of menopause. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate it. And please leave comments. Certain times of the year and certain seasons, my hair grows faster than others. And in between colors, it seems like it flies by. Well, recently, I've been starting to use root touch-ups, and I find they have really stretched the time between when I'm due for coloring my hair. I have found some really good root touch-up. Now, if you look at my hair, it looks like I don't need a color, but we're gonna go in close and show you the smoke and mirrors here. So if you look right here, that's the true color of my hair. My hair I did not wash today. Yesterday I washed it and I blew it straight, and I used this. It's AGEbeautiful Root Touch-Up by Zotos. This is actually the hair coloring that I use, Zotos, for mature women. And I find this works really, really well. And I used it yesterday, and what I do is I color in the edges of my hair around here and a little bit in the back. So I'm just gonna demonstrate. I'm just spraying right at the end, and then I take it and I rub it in. This works amazing, and it stretches the time between colors. I really felt like coloring my hair 2 weeks ago. I was going to a party and I was like, should I, shouldn't I? But I just ran out of time. I went to Sally Beauty. It's in the Northeast. I don't know if they're all over the country, but they certainly have it online, and you can probably find it there. My Ulta also has a whole section on root fillers now, some of them high-end. This was $9.99. I'll probably get 3 or 4 months out of this one bottle. So for $9, I am stretching my hair 2 or 3 weeks between, stretching it more than what I would have if I just did nothing. And it's really working for me, and if you don't use them, you might want to try. I also purchased this. This is a hair marker, and it works the same way, and I'll show you. There's the marker. It came with this, and what you do with this one is same thing. So if I want to cover these, I just go in, and it just takes the edge off of those grays and the dusty area, what I call the dusty area of my hair. And then you go in with the comb and you just stretch it out a little bit. I know when I got on camera, you didn't think I needed to do my roots, but I really do, but I just didn't have time. They also have mascaras. I purchased this one to try, but actually from the color, I know I compared it to one that works for me, and this is just a little bit too light. This is going back, and I will purchase the shade darker than this and try this one out. But these are definitely a part of my life from now on. But if I spend $25 coloring my hair, and I do that 6 times a year, and now I only have to do it 5 times a year, I'm saving myself some money. You might want to too. You feel good about yourself, and you don't have to hide under hats as much as usual. That's what I do. So, all right, so my second one, it's about menopause. That miserable time in a woman's life. I started my menopause, and I just was miserable. I was not the same person I was. I lost my vibrancy. I lost my interest in sex. I gained 40 pounds. I was grumpy. I was dull and drab, something that I'm not usually. And I just can't tell you, the symptoms were never ending. I didn't have that many hot flashes. I had night sweats, which were miserable. They'd wake me up every night, 3:30, 4 a.m., and I couldn't go back to sleep. And I had really just fallen asleep because I was miserable with my sleep patterns. Also up and I work. I need to be fresh. I need to work and I need to have clear brain function, another thing that I did not have. So I had seen Suzanne Summers, and please don't shake your head and go, oh yes, I've heard this story before, because it's really not about Suzanne Summers. This is about you and your symptoms in menopause and what you're going through. And I read her book. I read Sexy Forever, and I read Ageless, and I read this book. I have this one on hand because this is the only book I didn't loan to someone and never got it back. So I loaned out the other books and never returned. So whoever has my book, please return it. I'd appreciate that because I go back to it and look up things. And in the back of her Forever Sexy book, she had a list. Oh, she has it here too. A list of doctors in every state. Alternative medicine doctors. Most of the medical community is against bioidentical hormone treatments or therapy, whichever you call it. And they only think that when a woman comes into their office and they're complaining about menopause, that the doctor prescribes Xanax or they prescribe Premarin or both. Now, I've never been one for prescription drugs, and I wanted to find an alternative. So when I read her book, I started taking vitamin D and some supplements that were suggested, and I looked up a doctor by me in here and went to the alternative medicine doctor. And this is what happens. They do a blood test on you. They talk about the symptoms and all of the things you're going through. Lack of interest in sex, weight gain, brain fog. I was itchy. I changed my deodorant 3 times in 9 months because I had no idea that itchiness on your arms and your legs was a sign of menopause. And I was getting into bed at night and scratching my arms and my legs. It was weird. And finally I read her book and I found out it's one of the 7 symptoms of menopause. Itchy, bitchy. She says it all in her book. If you want to pick it up, I'll have the links down below. And you can get it on Amazon, Nook, I'm sure, all over the place. I went to my doctor. I found one in here, went to her, explained what I was going through. First thing we did, she recommended some supplements. I started taking them right away. I went for a blood test. Now, when you go for a regular blood test with a medical doctor, and she's a medical doctor too, but I'm talking about that tried and true medical community that is against hormone treatments or helping women in any way, shape, or form as we age. They have no interest in it. So I got the blood test and they checked my hormone levels, cholesterol. It's way more of a blood test than you would get at any other doctor. And I went back to her a few weeks later, 3 weeks later, and she prescribed the bioidentical hormone treatments. It took a few times for them to get the exact compounding, because that's what they do. It's a compound pharmacy, makes up this prescription. I started out with a gel and a cream, depending on what works for you. And this is it. It comes like this. It's a cream, and you apply it. I do 4 clicks a day, like that. And it comes, and you put it here, or you put it here, or your inner thigh. I move it around. I go for a week here, and then I go for a week up here, a week over here, a week over here, down on my inner thigh. You know, where there's a softer skin, it won't work so much. You're supposed to keep it very localized and let it soak in. I can't tell you how much this has changed my life. I work for a living. I need to be fresh and sharp, and this has changed the game for me. My hair is growing. I am not miserable. I have my weight under control, whereas when I had just started menopause, I couldn't take a bite of food without gaining 5 pounds. It was horrible. And I like to eat. So, but if you are having terrible symptoms, not everybody has a terrible menopause, and those that don't, you're very lucky. I had a miserable one. I was the shell of a woman that I was, and I can't tell you how much this has changed my life. If you'd like to do some research on it, there's a whole community out there. They say it's dangerous, cancer causing. I mean, there isn't a drug around that doesn't have a laundry list of things that can go wrong with any drug. I'm not saying it's fail-proof. There is always somebody that this does not work on. And I am not a medical doctor. I can't give you medical advice. I'm just telling you what worked for me, and this is amazing. I can't tell you enough that if you are miserable in menopause, you should look into this. Go to an alternative medicine doctor. They can offer you help and have an interest in helping you more than my physician. So those are my Friday tips. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope they help you in some way, shape, or form. And until next Friday, see you soon.